going.
Live again. Hey, Dr. Misak here. Welcome back. We're doing a recorded show this week. I had something come up that I'm not available, but I still want to bring some great information to you guys. Since being with Annie, hi Annie, you can say hi. You can put you on the spot.
Hello.
Okay. So since being here with Annie, we've been trying to bring some concepts and introduce you. When we first tried to bring some of the basic concepts to the show, we were having such technical difficulties that we just think it was falling apart. It was breaking up on us. We've deleted those shows. So we want to go back to the basics is what we want to do. One thing that I want to talk about, as always, is, we call this God's healing by the numbers. Those of you who don't know me, Dr. Darrell Misak, naturopathic doctor, pharmacist, and I bring you an analytical perspective of how you can find health at home. It's available to all of us through what we're eating and how we're eating and drinking, and that's the main thing. But we talk about deficiency, excesses, how to replete and restore the body. But bringing God into the picture, this is one of my favorite things from Proverbs chapter 3, verses 13 through 17. It says, "Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding, for she is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold. She is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand. In her left hand are riches and honor." Wisdom, people. Wisdom is invaluable. It's more precious than anything that we have. It's something that God has said that wisdom was present when he created everything. It's an aspect of the spirit that hopefully lives within you all. So I want to hope that I bring some understanding, an aspect of truth that you just don't find elsewhere, and put it in a different perspective for you. And what we want to do is this week, I want to bring together back a presentation aspect. And I have a presentation. I'm going to open this up, share this, and go from the beginning. All right, Annie, is that what you're seeing right now?
All good, yep.
Excellent. So God's healing by the numbers, back to basics. And when we look at this, always when we do this stuff, we have to have this disclaimer. Due to the legal nature of practicing in a non-licensed state for naturopathic medicine, this presentation and the concepts of bioelectrochemistry should not be construed as a form of diagnosis, treatment, cure, or prevention of disease. Don't you love this stuff? Additionally, the views and concepts contained with this presentation challenge current accepted medical views and are not intended to replace, scrutinize, slander, or condemn any medical or accepted health viewpoint or association that upholds those beliefs. Dude, we are not here to turn around and say that they are wrong. I'm just challenging what they are teaching as what is believed and how it's applied. So we always start with why naturopathic medicine? What is the difference between naturopathic medicine and traditional medicine? It's principle, people. It comes down to a set of principles. It comes down to an aspect of what is the bottom belief. Traditional medicine, you would say, is the diagnosis and treatment of disease, whereas naturopathic medicine is understanding a process. It has nothing to do with the product, except the products are great for support. It has everything to do with a process. And that's what we want to do, is look at the processes. So natural medicine recognizes the vis medicatrix naturae, the healing power of nature, that we were created to heal, that God made our bodies in his form. They're naturally restorative. Your body works as well as it can based upon the environment you're in. That's a basic biological concept of homeostasis. Tolle causum, treat or identify the cause. If you remove the cause, your body restores itself. It's cause and effect, people. So how do we measure cause and effect? We're going to go into that with understanding RVTI and why we use that as a basic system of measurement. Tolle totem, treat the whole person. Why do I want to feed my thyroid all this stuff, or feed my adrenal glands all this stuff, or feed my liver all this stuff when I don't know what's causing them to be out in the first place? We want to look at the whole perspective of, is there deficiency, is there excess or toxicity, and how do we address that in a systematic way to understand how to support the body to restore itself. Primum non nocere, first do no harm. Go back and read the original Hippocratic Oath. It's been changed over the years. They do not read the same Hippocratic Oath at graduation on medical doctors as what they did 50 years ago. And so it has changed, people, that, you know,
Really?
we love those
That's interesting.
commercials. What's that, Annie?
I said, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yep. And so don't you love those commercials, though, that, you know, to take this and they have all these happy people and whatever else in these drug commercials. And then at the bottom, when they're playing this beautiful music and you have these people smiling and being super happy, may can cause thromboembolic events. You may cause risk of heart attack or death. You see all these little things that are mentioned under their breath of what the risks are of taking those drugs. And so in natural medicine, we teach a hierarchy of therapeutics, from food and water and air to drugs and surgery. What causes more harm, we use less of. Docere, doctor as a teacher. Well, I hope I'm doing that. That's the whole basis. I'm supposed to teach you how to take care of yourself, not turn around and you know, come back to my office. I'll tell you what to do next time. Come back to my office. I might have a different idea for you. Come back to my office. And just keep paying these fees. If I can teach you how to monitor yourself and how to support yourself when these things go out of whack, you have an idea. I can do this before I end up in the hospital or end up in the doctor's office. And if they're not working, by all means, get some help. Prevention. Well, we don't treat, cure, prevent disease, but natural medicine principles are, hey, let me do things that are first going to remove or prevent than I do to in order to you know, take preventative nature. What am I eating? What am I drinking? You know, what can I do in my lifestyle that is going to help me to optimize? And that's where I drop in, where I created this thing called the 5-phase optimal health program. So when I was, how do I go back? Okay, 5-phase optimal health program. So when years ago, I've told the story on shows before, you know, I was in natural, I had at our office, we had this issue where I do not know why my screen share is. Am I still on, Annie?
You are, but your screen is not shared.
My screen is not shared. Oh,
No,
that's why. Okay.
you came down out of it.
So you're looking at me. I'm like, this doesn't look right. Okay, so 5 years, oh, more than that, around 2007 or so. You know, I was at I came into my office, the police were here, the fire trucks were here, the boiler had caught fire, smoked up the whole building. And I'm like, look, I got to go and I have to call people or I'm going to have a bunch of people showing up. So they let me come in, get my appointment book. I went to a local coffee shop with my assistant. We started making phone calls and telling people not to come in. And then she's like, okay, doc, you overload people with information. What do you want them to learn? And that's where we came up with this 5-phase optimal health system. So let me go back and get my share screen back up, and right there. All right. And so from the current slide, so go back. All right. So phase 1 is basically pure air, pure food, pure water, environmental health protection, you know, EMF protection as well. So we're recognizing that your body is as healthy as it can be based upon the environment you are living in. So are you eating organic? Even if you are, you know, does it have minerals? Not necessarily. It still rots in our refrigerator, you know. So looking for high brix foods, eating organic, washing all those pesticides off of the foods before you eat them. Pure distilled water. We'll go over why we want distilled water and not just a Berkey filter or whatever most people are using out there. You know, EMF protection. Look at what 5G is possibly doing. If we're electrical beings, people, can you imagine what all these electrical frequencies you're being bombarded with? Can't get away from them, but you can neutralize them. We've talked about these things. So we try to teach people the basics of look at your environment. Phase 2 is your personal identification of stress. Where's it coming from? We did a show with Annie on EAV testing. We're testing for food chemical reactivities. We look at the live blood. We look for things that are saying, hey, this is happening in the body. We could do organic acid testing from a functional medicine standpoint. But we're looking for specifically, what am I reacting to that is causing and requiring more energy than I'm getting from my food? Okay? Phase 3, functional support. The body is depleted. Mineral deficiency is the primary issue with most people's health. And as you start restoring those minerals, certain vitamins enhance it. So we look for the basics, and we use that RBTI measurement as a way of identifying where these weaknesses are. But a functional support does not mean take every supplement known to mankind for your immune system, for liver detoxification, for thyroid and adrenal support. It means, what is my body deficient in? What does it actually need to take care of the burdens? And how do I stimulate it, which goes to phase 4, detoxification, to be more efficient at eliminating these burdens? So we use infrared sauna, we use colon hydrotherapy, we use ionic foot baths, we use colon cleansing kits and different types of liver and gallbladder flushes and things to flush out and stimulate the body to improve the detoxification. But if you take phase 1 to 3 into consideration, hey, I clean up my environment, I stop eating crap, I am eating foods that are generating health, I reduce specifically out of my environment what I'm reacting to. If it's mold, get out of the environment. If it's eating a particular food, stop eating it. I functionally give my body what it needs in order to where it's showing its signs of inability. What's going to happen? You're creating more energy than you're generating. Your body's going to start cleaning up shop. And it starts to detox. And we use these other therapies to support and stimulate it. Phase 5 is that maintenance, is that self-awareness. Wow, I'm doing all these things, but I still have this coming up. I have this weird little finger feels like it's infected when it's not actually infected, or something going on. And so where did this come from? Something's going on. So we try to figure out why. We still go back and what can I do to take care of this? I could stick it in some colloidal silver, put some colloidal silver gel on it or something from an antimicrobial standpoint. We can use anti-inflammatory things, but we try to understand the why. Where did it come from? And self-awareness in phase 5 is reevaluating what could be going on. When you look at why I do this, people say, Doc, you're a genius. No, I'm not. There's a bunch of geniuses that went before me, primarily Dr. Kerry Reams. He basically taught the energy perspective of what the body is on a quantum level and how to measure it. So we're aspect of you have to generate more energy from your food than what your body is consuming. When we're looking at the blood, there was a guy named Gunther Enderlein back in the 18 and early 1900s who was looking at the blood as a living terrain that gave insights that when people were sick, you saw crap in their blood. And he laid the foundation for looking at blood as a source of imbalances in the body. Revisi is looking at cell membranes and how well things are transporting across cell membranes and what's involved with that. T.C. McDaniel's looking at the electrical potential of the body and how electrolytes are affected to transporting energy across the cells and allowing improved oxygenation in the body. Crystal Wolcott looking at metabolic typing and how certain people are oxidizing fast, certain people are slow oxidizers. And so based upon your metabolic rate, there's certain foods that you can eat that are more able to get energy out of them because your metabolic rate allows you to extract it more than putting a burden on your system. And that correlates very well with ranges in the diet we do when we're measuring RBTI. Royal Rife using electricity, and another, we can also look at Lavotsky, and looking at multiple frequencies and wavelengths and how running electricity through the body can change the cellular effect, can kill microbes, can improve the function of the body. When I go back to Dr. Kerry Reams. This is a system of measurement or a system of medicine, and we can't call it medicine, right? I'm calling it energy efficiency. But where in health of either naturopathic or in traditional medicine, I want you to go to your medical doctor and say, can you tell me what perfect health is? What do I need to have perfect health? Or how can you measure and show me that I'm in perfect health? They can't. They can turn around and say, well, you might not have any symptoms. You might not need any drugs. And you might feel like you have the energy that you need to do what you need to do in life. You're able to, you have a good frame of mind and you're healthy, right? Reams broke it down to energy. He broke everything down to energy, and he found an equation for the human body that when your values of your sugars, your pHs, your conductivity and salts, your cell debris, and your nitrogen utilization, when they fall in this equation, the human biological system is at optimal energy utilization. You know, he called it the line of least resistance. You get too much resistance, things are slowing down. You get too little resistance, there's not enough resistance to generate the energy. So he found out a system of measurement where we can identify where the system is weak and what it needs to support it. So if you know what's perfect and you know how to move things towards perfect, then you have an understanding of cause and effect. And that's what we were talking about earlier. We're looking at energy in, energy out, how the body is able to utilize that energy. And it's a simple system. And this is what we've done multiple times with regards to trying to teach this online. Sugar availability and that Brix value, that first value, bottom line, tells us what to drink and our available energy. So at 1.5, we're in that perfect equation. That's where you have maximal amount of oxygen carrying capacity. That's where you have the maximal potential for energy available to you. And so when you go above or below that, you're either displacing or you're having lack of oxygen. And do you need oxygen? You know, every cell of your body needs oxygen. But cancer cells don't. They love an anaerobic low oxygen environment. You know, so when you're maximizing this, Reams was curing so many things, but it all starts with sugar regulation. Because if you look at the symptoms, this is a great aspect. Look at these low sugar symptoms: lightheadedness, dizziness, extreme fatigue, muscle aching, crashing, frontal headaches, migraines, seizures, forgetfulness, cold all the time. Or high sugar symptoms: foggy brain, cluster headaches, muscle aches, numbness in the extremities, rapid heart rate, nervousness, AM grogginess, needing to urinate at night. If you turn around and say, wait a minute, I have those symptoms, and my doctor is treating me for migraine headaches by giving me Maxalt or whatever, or I have those symptoms and my doctor is giving me cortisol for supporting my adrenal glands. I have those symptoms and my doctor is giving me, you know, whatever it may be, you know, nervousness. How about that little yellow pill? You know, let's go back to the Rolling Stone. Let me get my Valium, people. You know, you probably are eating foods that's tricking this off. So when we eat foods that are bad, that sugar value is going to skyrocket high, or it's going to crash on you because your body can't tolerate it. We also look at pH, and pH. Yes.
Well, concerning sugar, what kind of sugar is good then? Maybe highlight that. You lost your shared screen as well.
Well, of course I did, because I'm talking to you.
Oh, well.
Aha.
I don't know. Just share a little bit more on what kind of sugar is good, because I know it was hard for me to figure that out. Cane sugar wrecks me, and I didn't know that.
Okay. Well, sugar, you know, we try to fit. It depends on the person. So Reams once, there's a story with Reams where he had an infant, and the doctor, nobody could do anything for this infant, and Reams basically, they tried all different kinds of sugars in him. He couldn't reply, and then Reams said, just put a teaspoon of sugar or a half a teaspoon of sugar in his mouth. It'll comfort him and reduce his pain. And guess what happened? Sugars improved. He started regaining energy. The baby restored. He got back. Cane sugar was the sugar that baby needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that maple syrup crashes me. Honey crashes me. I can't, you know, so if I want to go to sleep at night, I'll do some chamomile tea with honey. Boom, I'm out.
Right.
You know,
so it's more you need to just experiment and read your numbers and see what is what.
Exactly. And so sometimes we'll even, when people have a high sugar to salt ratio, we'll put some juice, and we'll find that fruit juices and juices can help control their sugars by having a little bit of juice in their water, taking a gulp of it or two every half hour, just keeping enough sugars that you're not crashing. Does amazing wonders for people. So sugar regulation is totally huge. It is by far, that is your potential energy. That is the value out of all the values that has the most influence on what symptoms that you're going to have.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Continue.
Yes. Sorry.
Well, let's go on. Keep asking. Lets me break my train of thought. So I'm going to go back here. And from the current, I don't know what happened, but I fell off. pH, okay. So when you look at pH kind of tells us mineral utilization. The urine pH gives us a post-digestive efficiency. Saliva pH gives us a pre-digestive efficiency and strength of our bile, how well we're able to digest and break things down. We also, when we're looking at the equation, the pH can guide us where symptoms can be located in the body. You know, low pHs, you see the lower part of the body aches. High pHs, you tend to see brain, sinuses, teeth, thyroid symptoms from organs high up in the body. So we can kind of identify that. But Ream suggested and showed us that pH is a measurement of resistance and how much friction there is. So the higher the number, the higher the friction. So that means the slower things go. There's more resistance. There's more. So when you see high pH or alkaline symptoms, things slow down. So you see constipation, sinus, respiratory issues. Things are higher up in the body. Skin eruptions, because of vitamin A utilization and vision complaints as well. Shoulder, upper extremity pains, thyroid issues, cluster headaches, teeth and jaw issues. You'll see those type of things. Or cationic, when things are moving too fast, your body's not able to pull the nutrients out of the of your digestive tract, and so you start seeing diarrhea, non-digestive food, lower extremity pain. You know, your body will pull calcium from the hips and knees. So we'll see people with chronic arthritic complaints in their lower body because they've been acid for years upon years and just breaking down those tissues and their bones and developing osteoarthritis. You know, you'll see women with heavy menstrual cramping and menstrual flows. You'll see prostate complaints, malabsorption. Things are moving too fast, can't be absorbed. So then we go into looking at ranges. When you look at the perfect equation that we gave a few slides back, and we say, okay, range A, optimal, you know, we extrapolate that, and we've actually changed that range A to a working range. So that Brix would be 1.5 to 2. Those pHs would be 6.3 to 6.6. That conductivity would be 6 to 10. The cell debris would be from a 1 to 4M, and those nitrates would be like a 9 to 12 over a 5 to 7, where they totally add up to about 15 to 19. But what you're looking at is when you're getting your body into these healing ranges, what you're doing is affecting energy efficiency. How much is my potential energy coming in? And so what I tend to find, people come into my office and they're having pHs that are somewhere between 4.9 to 5.3, which drops you down into that E range. And what it is when you go across the board and you look at what your values, your Brix recording versus your pHs versus your salts, conductivity, your cell debris or your nitrates, you find which one of those values is in the furthest away from ideal. And you're in the weakest link. A chain's only as strong as the weakest link. So if you have pHs primarily that are in that E range, then you're functioning in the E range. If your sugars are in the E range or D range and everything else is in the BC, you're in the lowest range. So we teach based upon that range how to eat, choose foods. So range A people, they can get away with eating most anything, but you will notice as you're building what we call reserve energy, that certain products will throw you out. Wheat and cheese, dairy products are notorious. And just across the board, you'll see that. Range B, the gastric juices are slowing down, more resistance, they're getting weaker. So you got to get rid of the salt. You have to get foods that are easy to digest. You have to help the fiber so you keep pooping so you don't back up. So we get rid of small C's, but we make sure we're on like pears and vegetables to get that vegetable fiber to make sure that you're able to keep those bowels moving. Range C is even weaker than B. So same rules, but you just got to cut out the sugars after 2 o'clock. That's huge because you'll find that sugar crashing can start occurring and throw you in an even worse range. So you got it. The longer the problems exist, the longer it takes to correct the problem or for it takes to correct. So if you see somebody stuck in a certain range, you can see that as you get them out of that range, then they'll go to the next range at a certain time for a while before they go. It takes, in most cases, 8 to 12 weeks for people to consistently get in that healing range. And that I say it an A-B range, because people based upon diet will fluctuate. Range D, the digestive juices get weak. The digestion's moving too fast. They need to eat light meals. They can't eat heavy fatty meals. They can't eat too much meat and fat. The problem is they're just not going to break it down. Watermelon is great for them because it helps the kidneys to process. It helps to dilate and eliminate the waste. The kidneys and the liver start showing stress in those D and E ranges. And same with the E range, is just the worsening of the D range. So in some people, they need pureed foods, do juices and stuff like that. You got to consider, because those sugars are crashing, sometimes we will have people do fruit and carbohydrates to carry it through. So the basic rule of biochemistry, or the bio-electrochemistry, is that unless all the numbers are perfect, none of them are perfect. But if any of the numbers are moving towards perfect, that's where you see you're increasing more energy. So that's a huge thing. So we watch these numbers and see where people are out. And over time, we watch them move from that DE to that BC and get them into that A range. The main thing people do is like, my energy's off the wall. I haven't had energy like this in a long time. And so you could just have people come in, look at the numbers and say, wow, you're feeling better. You're not crashing anymore. How the heck do you know that? And it's just by looking at the numbers. And so the other thing is the longer that you stay in that A-B range, you start building reserve energy. And as you build your reserves, that means when you do cheat and you do have something, those reserves are there so you don't deplete yourself. And that's why people in the A range are able to cheat more often. So bottom line, you got to get more energy from your food than you consume. We have talked about measurement. I'm not going to go into this today. We use pH as a basic system. Everybody should use a refractometer and some pH strips. If you learn your sugar regulation and you learn your pH regulation on how you're eating, you will change your health. Home lifestyle, we talk about distilled water because it flushes the junk out. It has no memory to it. So you can drink distilled water and it will adapt to your electrical frequency, be a medium to solubilize things and transport both minerals in and out of the body. So most people are taught that if I drink distilled water, I'm going to deplete my minerals. Well, yeah, it's going to flush out all the inorganic minerals that your body's not using. But if your body's bound up and using those minerals, they're not going anywhere. However, even at the risk of doing it, we do suggest taking trace minerals. Mincol at a basis, kids usually do one a day, teenagers a couple times a day. Most adults need at least one with every meal. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. Go by the numbers. That's the things that we're going to teach over time. Another thing is we recently did a product highlight on fulvic-based minerals, Energy Boost, Morningstar Minerals, or the Inner Vitality by them, those humic and fulvic-based minerals. You got to get trace minerals in, people. And we look at those ratios to determine what you need by looking at the numbers. But when we're looking at energy and how to get it, comes down to sugar regulation. And so we use that refractometer. We determine how much we need to drink based upon that refractometer, that Brix reading. And so as a general rule, most people teach to take your body weight in pounds, divide it by 2. That tells you how many ounces a day. But most of the times we never go over about 96 ounces of distilled water. Ream suggested 80, but I've had people who come in here that are 300-400 pounds, and 80 ounces of water just does not control the sugars and the breakdown elimination that they need. So I go by the numbers of whether you need more or less. But you don't just turn around and say, okay, I have to drink 8 ounces, 8 glasses of water. I need to get 64 ounces in. Well, heck, I've fallen behind. Let me chug 20 right now. Oh, I did it again. Let me chug another 20, 25 ounces. And 2 to 3 times a day, just do these massive gulps, drink a whole bottle of water. It doesn't work for you. It's going to flush your kidneys. The idea is little sips of water all day long, 3-4 ounces every half hour, few gulps of water. I'm going to take a drink right now because I need it. And but that what you're doing is you're hydrating. You're not changing baroreceptors, pressure receptors to tell the kidneys to flush because you just drank too much water in one sitting, and your kidneys say, "Whoa, volume's too high. We got to get rid of stuff." Little bits of water, don't change the pressure, and allow you to hydrate yourself. So rhythm, when we talk about sugar regulation, that's again drinking roughly every half hour. And then people who are sugar crashers will even put some juice in the water. Ream's taught to eat based upon rhythm. Breakfast for a queen, lunch for a king, dinner for a pauper. You eat more carbohydrates in the morning because you plan on using them for your busy day. The fruits are usually best in the morning. Lunch for a king, your biggest meal, get you through the rest of the day. Small evening meals so you're not generating energy to keep you awake, make you have to pee, not be restless at night. So it really, you're trying to eat based upon energy utilization. So we say go by the numbers. You know, if you're sugar crashing and you have a high sugar to salt ratio that's greater than 1:5, we'll add a little bit of juice to your water. So lemons, I'm going to kind of take off and say, hey, you know, the bottom line between lemons is that they are anionic. Everything in nature, I've talked about this, is cationic or anionic. Cations cause clumping, anions cause dispersion. And so when you're looking at lemons in the diet, you know, Ream's taught that they help to normalize the pH, stimulate the bile production. They help you to produce billions of enzymes. But I love to use that commercial. Dawn takes grease out of your way. One drop of Dawn in that grease, boom, shoots out of the way. So all that clumping and oil and grease is cationic in that Dawn. And soaps are an anionic surfactant. So one drop of anionic surfactant, boom, it pops it and disperses it. All food is cationic in its overall aspect. Some foods have a tendency towards having minerals that are more alkaline, but the overall effect is cationic. When you dump lemons in at the end of meals, so at a minimum, mix 1 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon to 9 ounces of distilled water and drink 3 ounces after every meal, you are dispersing. You're stimulating energy production. You're helping your body get more energy. You're normalizing pH, which is the speed of things. You are you're increasing the potential of your body to gain energy from that food. Lemons are essential, people. So summary, go by the numbers. You know, your symptoms are a chemistry imbalance. They are a deficiency or an excess. It is not you battling disease. It is you trying to say what makes sense, cause and effect as to what is going on here. And if I know what changes those numbers and what threw them out of balance, then I can turn around and say, I know this brings them back in. So that's the whole basis here. We teach to go by those numbers. We always test an hour and a half to 2 hours after a meal because we're measuring how well the body takes energy from the food, you know. And so 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. are typically the best guides, which ironically correlate with how our body has adrenal cortisol releases and how the thyroid kicks in based upon these diurnal rhythms in the body. So if you change one variable of the question, you affect all of them. So where I'm telling you, you know, getting a refractometer for $60, getting some pH strips for about $12, and if you learn to monitor those two things, you're going to change your life. You're going to change your health. You're going to see a change. But it's the whole picture that helps people. The last thing I want to mention is vision. You know, we are looking to how to teach this, and that's why we do these shows. We have a nonprofit bioelectric health coalition that we're a member of, and the idea is reaching you and empowering you with how God heals and what it takes and how to understand your food in this world of what you need. So equipping you with the tools that you need to test and how to understand what those are, teaching you basically what to do, what foods to eat, what basic minerals and vitamin deficiencies you're showing sign of, supporting you, giving you what you know, when, oh God, doc, I can't figure this out. What do I need here? We want to create a network of practitioners who understand these basics and can say, look, that's really easy. This goes up, this goes down. You're missing this. You know, eat some of this in your diet. watch that pH, watch that Brix. If it goes out of whack, you know, you might need a little bit of this specific form of calcium or something to that effect. So finally, you know, I want to see where we train people and have retreats all the way across America to where we train people that this is just a basic system here, people. Seeking truth in and through natural medicine, teaching the world. You know, that is the goal. Right now, you know, I have the Pittsburgh Alternative Health. I have the Vitalometry. You know, what I'm trying to do is generate the money to where I can, you know, bring this stuff to you and have it to become a self-perpetuating system. Betty Reams and Laverne Reams and Eugene Reams and working with them and the Reams family is just a blessing to hear their stories. We'll have those type of things on later shows. I'll bring them on. Retreats is where it happens. We're doing a retreat in May 27th, I believe, to about May 30th. It's a Wednesday through the Sunday that week. Retreats is where we do it. We feed you incredibly well. We turn around and we teach you all about testing. We teach you how to eat. We teach you the basics of understanding those numbers. But you can't learn it all in one setting, people. So level 2 will be understanding what minerals and what do I need to take. You know, I'm practicing with my foods. I'm learning how to eat in these ranges, but I'm still deficient. This level 2 is going to teach what to take. Level 3 is going to teach you, hey, these are therapies and these are different lifestyle supportive things that I can do to help to get through the process a little bit more efficiently. Whether you're doing detoxification and doing infrared sauna and colonics and colon hydrotherapy and you know, when to use Rife machines and these electrical therapies that are, you know, my office are free, you know. And then phase 4 is going to be retreat ready. You know, hey, how do you turn around? And now I want you to take this torch. I want you to carry it and teach other people to do the same thing. This is not a system of medicine created by me, people. This is me taking the works of geniuses and saying, look, it all makes sense. It all works together. And we have a tool here that we can measure it. And then whatever you're doing from a naturopathic perspective, you can measure, is it working for me? Is this something, hey, you should eat this, go keto. You can run their numbers and know if it's appropriate for them. Don't go by the aspects of the magazines that say, hey, everybody who has this disorder should do keto. It doesn't work that way. You know, Reams called them fads until you can prove it mathematically. It wasn't truth to the guy. And what he did is over 50 years, he never once proved that equation mathematically to be wrong. The guy was a genius. He was curing everybody. And he got thrown in jail for it. He was, you know.
It was working. Clearly, yeah. It was working.
He taught people how to fast and taught people what to eat and taught people the basics of what to take. And everybody who followed him mostly taught what to take. Take these minerals, take these minerals. You're mineral deficient. We know you're mineral deficient. Take this, take this, take this. It helps, but until you figure out the why, people. So I do food sensitivity testing. I'm looking for these channels of understanding that keep explaining the why, and they correlate with what RBTI tells us. And that's where I found these tools, and that's what I'm trying to bring to you. So that's the basics of what I wanted to bring to the air today. You know, sorry I couldn't be here, but I am here. Just not on the time frame that you're asking. So no chat window today. But Annie, is there anything that you wanted to add? I kind of cut you off and just rambled for a while.
Well, that's a good thing. No, I think, you know, talking about the 5 phases, it's mainly lifestyle, and I think that's the biggest thing that people struggle with these days. And I mean, I know whenever I met you, that was the biggest slap in the face. It was like, you need to change how you eat, you need to change everything. And now that I've implemented that for a few years, it's proving that you were right. But I think you covered that. That's what I wanted to see come out of this.
Good. Yeah, I don't want to be right, people, but I want you to see cause and effect. I want you to see that there is a way that you can understand your health and not just chase symptoms. It's not in a product, it's in a process. Mm-hmm. And if you understand what these numbers are telling you about the process, sugar regulation and the health of oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, pHs and the speed of things moving, is my digestive juices strong enough? Is my body processing things well enough? The conductivity and the thickness of body fluids, and how your body's eliminating waste. The cell debris, looking at the kidneys and whether they're functioning, holding onto water, whether you're well enough hydrated, whether you're, getting rid of waste the way you're supposed to. The nitrates, protein building, protein breakdown. Is my body breaking down, or am I digesting foods and building healthy cells? We want you to look at this as a standpoint of measurement. So I'm not telling you what to take. So it's a logical step. If I have this, this is what I need. Anything else, Annie?
No, I think we're good.
All right, I guess we're good. So I thank you again. Again, learn more. Check out the other shows on the channel, Doc Misak. Turn around and tune into us. We'll be back again next week. What do you have, Annie?
On Wednesday, we'll be back. Wednesday afternoon.
Wednesday, yes, we'll be back on Wednesday. Wednesday, somewhere between 2 to 3 o'clock. We're trying to do just a short little tidbit of something, whether it be a product highlight, whether it be about a therapy, just kind of some of the things that we do to support the process. Until then, take care. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you later.